So, good evening everyone and welcome to my blog. I am going to give you now some of the basic concepts on how to conduct a criminal investigation. You know it is not just that simple. There are several and precise undertakings being performed in reaction to unpredictable involving events. As needed, there should be a complete information to guide the process. Since we know that it is impossible to teach or learn a certain methodology that can be applied in every case. And to do this, we need to know those important concepts, legal rules, and processes that can be used in every investigation conducted. Now, I can say that does not only need a set of tasks, skills, but there should be also a set of thinking skills. As a human beings, we are all born as investigators. But in criminal investigation, thinking skills must be further developed to deliberately understood and developed to the point where they engage to work through problem solving processes. As an investigator, it is not only sufficient to use strategies that ordinary people use every day, because investigation is an unaccountable process in which the investigator is not just making a determination about the validity of information for personal confirmation, rather it was the police investigator who is responsible and empowered under the law to make determinations that could affect the lives of those being investigated as well as the victims of crime. The investigator must know how to interpret information and evidence, and it requires answers to many questions that lead critical decisions, actions and outcomes, such as what must be done to protect the life and safety of persons. What is the best plan to apprehend the person or persons responsible for such criminal act? Just like will someone will be subjected to detention or arrest and questioning to a criminal act, will someone be suspected to a criminal trial? Will justice be served? Or will community be protected? So with this, the investigator as well must be ready to explain their thinking and action to the courts. For example, when they were asked by the courts, how did you reach that conclusion to take your chosen action? As an investigator, they be able to articulate their thinking process and articulate then lay out the facts for decision making processes. Since investigation is the collection and analysis of evidence, it must be done in a structured way to be acceptable in court. Obviously, today in some cases where a person is found committing the criminal act and apprehended at the scene, the criminal investigation is not a complex undertaking at all, unless in the cases where criminal event is discovered after the fact or when the culprit is not really readily apparent. By then, the process of criminal investigation become more complex. Now, considering the criminal nature of evidence within the court, each piece of relevant evidence will be probative considered based on its probative value. And this probative value of evidence goes towards the judge and jury reaching their decision of proof within reasonable doubt in civil court. Of increasing assistance in criminal investigation is the crime laboratory, equipped to deal with a wide range of physical evidence by means of chemical and other analysis. Now, this technique of identification, especially fingerprint Now, this technique of identification, especially fingerprinting and more recently voice printing and even and even DNA fingerprinting, a technique that is still experimental, I think have come to prominence. In modern investigation, wherein photography, document examination, ballistics, and other scientific techniques are also standard crime laboratory tools. Even forensic medicine now can supply analysis of blood and urine and identify traces of chemical substances in bodily organs of homicide victims. For several years, criminal investigators have relied on six basic investigative techniques to solve crimes, such as development of informants, use of undercover agents, laboratory analysis of physical evidence, physical and electronic surveillance, and it also includes interrogation to further assess necessary needed evidence to solve the crime. So that is all about my blog. So that's all about my blog.